two Broncos players have surprised Sean Payton. So we're going to unpack all of that. And then we're going to get to, well, we'll just wait and let you guys find out what that next part is at the end of the show. But let's talk about the two surprising players in Sean Payton's view. First one is quarterback Bo Nix. As Troy Rank points out here, Payton speaking in the media today saying, quote, I think that he's a little bit faster than we anticipated coming out of the draft. It does give you more flexibility as a play caller, especially on third down. So let's talk about Bo Nix's surprising speed a little bit, because at Oregon, the ball came out so quickly and on time that he was never really asked to hold on to the football for very long, extend plays, and use his legs. But I mean, like we see every single year, college quarterbacks come to the NFL and either they show us a side of them that we didn't know existed, or a side that we did know exists but didn't think was that big of a deal really comes through, a.k.a. Anthony Richardson and his accuracy. But Bo Nix so far this year on the ground has been a menace. I mean, 255 yards, 3 touchdowns. Those are the numbers of the leading rusher for this Broncos team pretty much. I mean, he has been, I wouldn't say the heart and soul of their ground attack, but he has made bigger runs than any other running back has made so far this year. Plus, I did some digging, and if Bo Nix were to continue this pace for the rest of the season, he would finish 5th for all-time rookie quarterback single-season rushing record, only behind Lamar and Josh Allen, and not by a whole lot, and ahead of Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields. So, with that being said, what I would like to see the Broncos do, and what I'm confident the Broncos are going to do, is implement more option plays, whether it's a quarterback option, whether it's an RPO. Keep the defense guessing as to whether or not the ball is going to be a pass, it's going to be run, if it's going to be Javonte Williams, is it going to be Bo Nix taking it? Because they have to respect all of those options since Nix is a credible rusher. I mean, let's look at the film for a moment for Thursday night. Look, this is a simple option play where Bo Nix is just going to read the defensive end Cam Jordan. Does he come crashing in? If yes, then pull it and keep it for yourself. And that's exactly what he does. If he doesn't come crashing in, then hand it off to the running back. Like later on in the game where Chase Young goes, well, I learned from Cam Jordan that we can't just assume he is going to hand it off. So he is going to honor Bo Nix as a rusher. And as a result, Nix makes the smart play. He gives it to Javonte Williams, who scores his first rushing touchdown of the season. I also love, by the way, I just want you guys to look at Alex Forsyth. He's the backup center. Go back to the last play really quickly, Reed. And Alex Forsyth, you can see, makes a really good block. I don't think you can drive a car through that between him and Miners, your center and your right guard. But it's a pretty easy walk-in touchdown for Williams, and I just love seeing Forsyth put his hands up for a touchdown here. That's super cool to see for him as a backup getting in and making a huge play to spring free a touchdown for Javonte. So I would like to see the Broncos implement more option plays because defenses, they watch film, they pick up tendencies. These guys are smart. They have a whole coaching staff devoted to scouting out the opponent every single week. And they are going to take notice of Nix as a rusher, which is only going to make things easier for the running backs on plays where the defense doesn't know if the quarterback's going to keep it or is he going to hand it off. And then that's going to open up things in the passing game by implementing more of RPO-style play calling because defenses don't know if he's for sure going to pull it back and throw it since he has shown an ability to run the football well or give it to Javonte, who has come off a really nice game against the Saints. So let's get some more option plays going for Bo Nix. Now we're going to talk about the other player that has surprised Sean Payton in just a moment, but we have about a week left, 10 days left in October, and we are behind the Chiefs report in subscribers. Don't need to get too much deeper into that, but they have a healthy lead. But the good news is it's like the third quarter of October. So plenty of time to stage a dramatic comeback. So if you want to beat the Chiefs in back-to-back seasons, hit that sub button down below. Now, another player that has caught Sean Payton's attention, that is rookie wide receiver Troy Franklin. Quote, I think he's progressing pretty quickly. And that's really encouraging to see because if we go all the way back to the beginning of training camp, and Troy Franklin was getting an earful from a lot of coaches during a lot of the early practices. And then he was a healthy scratch week 1 in Seattle. Fast forward to present day, and Troy Franklin is emerging as one of Bo Nix's favorite targets. That's not too surprising given their chemistry back at Oregon, and the numbers Franklin put up last year were single-season records for the Ducks. But look at Troy Franklin's game logs, going from inactive week 1 target and 12 snaps in week 2, to fast forward to week 7, 5 grabs, 50 yards, putting up a touchdown in the last few weeks here. He is getting a much larger role of this offensive pie, back-to-back games with 30-plus snaps. I mean, he is not running away with the wide receiver 1 job or anything, but he is really starting to establish himself as a staple of this offensive diet for Payton, which is really nice to see given that I think Denver could use some good home cooking at wide receiver. I mean, they had 2 early draft picks devoted to Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Sutton has worked out very nicely for the Broncos. Jeudy, unfortunately, did not. But outside of that, I mean, Marvin Mims has not really progressed as we would have hoped he would have at this point in his career. KJ Hamler with injuries just never worked out for him. The Broncos used a lot of draft capital on receivers for a good stretch, and they really don't have a whole lot of hits to talk about. More misses than hits for sure. So I would love to see Troy Franklin really blossom into a nice homegrown, cheap rookie contract for the next 4 years wideout. We don't have to constantly go back to the draft and go, all right, let's try it all over again because it didn't work last year and it didn't work the year before that. And I don't want to devote so much of our cap space to veteran wideouts in free agency. Now, one viewer who has been commenting on our channel for a long time that has probably been making, taking a couple victory laps over the last 2 minutes of this video, Salt of Solomon, he has just been in the comment section since day one talking about Troy Franklin. And I would think it's Troy Franklin's burner or like one of his family members, but he's been watching the channel for a long time. So, Salt of Solomon, it's early still. Don't get me wrong. Don't take any victory laps in terms of completely saying I was right and you were wrong. But Franklin's on a good path right now, and that's very, very encouraging to see. So kudos to you. You were one of the first people on it. Next portion I want to get to, some trade rumors. Alvin Kamara trade rumors. A lot of you have sent me a couple of articles. I've been tagged in some tweets and whatnot. So I want to look at some of the Kamara trade rumors out there revolving around the Broncos. But putting a little exclamation point on that last subject about the wide receiver future for this team, just stick with me here. But thinking beyond 2024, and I know we're really getting, in the weeds here. Who do you think the leading receiver for next year will be? Is it Courtland Sutton? Is it anyone else on this Broncos roster? Or is it someone not on their roster right now? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, one last thing before we look at some of those trade rumors surrounding Sean Payton's former running back. This Broncos hoodie is still 25% off at chatsports.com/DEN hoodie. So as we get closer to November and it starts to get very cold across the country, if you want to rep your favorite team while staying warm, get this awesome Broncos hoodie, 25% off. But keep in mind that as we get closer to the holiday season and Christmas, these sales are going to go away, and you're going to be paying way much more than you have to. So get it right now. I put this link in the comments and description of today's video. So let's talk about AK-41, Alvin Kamara, who has been, I wouldn't say the center of a whole bunch of NFL trade rumors, but has popped up in a lot of trade circles as the Saints continue to spiral downhill. They've started the year off 2-0, and they have dropped 5 in a row now. And a lot of people noticed a certain embrace after the Thursday night win between Sean Payton and Alvin Kamara. It was a big hug. I wouldn't quite say it was veteran comes back from the Middle East, but whatever a step below that is, that's what that hug was. And a lot of people were trying to create fake captions of, please come save me, Sean, get me to Denver. And then someone created a fake source, their source was themselves, about Alvin Kamara requesting a trade. So Kamara responded to that and said, I ain't requested a trade, so that's a lie. I'm in an orange robe on the way to Knoxville. So go Vols, Alvin. But Alvin Kamara, we can definitely debunk the idea that he has requested a trade. Now, that does not mean he won't get traded. He doesn't completely have full control over that. But if he does get dealt, I don't think it should be to Denver. I don't want the Broncos to trade for a running back who's on the older side like Kamara. I like Kamara as a player, but I don't see the long-term fit. And I think a trade for Alvin Kamara, if you are not a serious contender this year, you should only be making a trade that has a little bit more of a long-term effect to it rather than a half-year rental. I don't quite think that the Broncos sitting at 4-3 and beating up the bad Saints should let us sink our teeth into, okay, this is a team that's going to go all the way to New Orleans again, but this time in February for the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not trying to rain down anyone's parade, but I don't think the win against the Saints on Thursday night should be the sign of, yep, I'm going to validate myself on believing the Broncos can win the Super Bowl now or go on a deep, serious postseason run. I don't think a running back at this point makes sense for this Broncos team in where they are at. Kamara's been awesome this year. 6 touchdowns, 438 yards. He's battled some injuries the last couple of weeks, but he's still been on the field. But I'd rather keep my draft picks and roll with Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime. I'd rather hold on to my picks for the future because I don't think Kamara coming in here is going to be the thing that gets the Broncos to like the divisional round, the AFC Championship, deep in the playoffs. And by all means, this Broncos team, I think, is on a good path to being contention to make the playoffs, but I don't think they are an Alvin Kamara away from winning multiple playoff games. And if you're going to make a move of that size for a player who is on the older side of their career, has a decent contract, so a decent payday coming from them via the Broncos, it better be someone that can be here beyond just the rest of the season, and I don't think Kamara is that guy for Denver. So what position do you think the Broncos should trade for? Tight end is the most obvious example or thing that comes to mind, but the tight ends did kind of, or Lucas Kroll, I should say, did kind of play well against the Saints. You don't really see a whole lot of tight ends get dealt near the NFL trade deadline. Maybe we see the Broncos make a swing for a veteran tight end, an Evan Ingram from the Jags. They're kind of rebuilding, a Hunter Henry from the Patriots. But I don't think the Broncos should look at their 4-3 mark right now and go, okay, let's give up some serious draft capital. Do we agree? Like, I don't think they should feel like this is the year to give up a second-round pick so we can go on a deep playoff run. No, I would wait a year on that, right? Let's not do that in Bo Nix's rookie year. You're going to put a lot of pressure and a lot on this plate to make it a big 2024 season or bust. I'd rather hold on to my early picks. But if you can get a good tight end for a 7th or 6th rounder, sure, what the heck, why not? Before we get on out of here, I want to give some shout-outs to the Blue and Orange Club. Slap Yourself, I Don't Give a Buck, John E., Anthony Mastasis, Bobby Leglocks 92, Rick Callister. If you want to get added to the club, come hang out with us this upcoming Sunday for our Broncos-Panthers watch party. $100 super chat, and we will add you to the club to get shout-outs for the entirety of the 2024 season.